everybody. Welcome, welcome. Hey, nice to see everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today for our Animal Crossing New Horizons theme song Learn With Me lesson. This is the third lesson in this Learn With Me series, and it's going to be a fun one today. We're going to actually be starting to put together section 1 and section 2 of this piece, okay? It's kind of like putting the puzzle pieces together. So thanks for joining me. First things first, of course, go ahead and hit that share button if you can. Let everybody know that it's time for piano. The second thing is if you haven't done so already, go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can search Izzy Chia and you can find me there. The third thing is if you haven't joined the private group Encore Music Makers, go ahead and do that. I post all kinds of things in there, assignment posts and silly things and just stuff to get you motivated and keep you engaged in piano class. And of course the last thing is if you haven't already, you should probably purchase your music if you want to make the most out of these lessons that I'm offering. This music that we've got, our Animal Crossing song, is Nocturn's arrangement found on musicnotes.com, okay? So you can go ahead and search for that or just wait and hang around and I'll drop in the comments the link to purchase, okay? It's about $4.99, okay? Well, let's get started, all right? Okay, so I have my music here. I've printed it out and I put it in a file folder just to make it easy, all right? So go ahead and pull out your music. There it is, perfect. And we're gonna do a quick overview here of section 1 as well as section 2. I know that my practice habits for section 1 for the first week were actually fairly good. For the second week, I didn't get as much practice as I wanted to. So I'm going to probably use some of that time that we've got together today to drill some of those tricky spots, okay? So what we're doing for today's lesson is putting the two sections together, okay? Next week, we will be working on the coda, okay? Which is the last 4 lines of this piece, okay? We'll go over a quick review of what a coda is when it's indicated in our music, da capo al coda, okay? So we'll talk about that when we get there, okay? All right, well, I'm so glad you're here. Let's see if we can play through just section 1, okay? Let's switch to piano view. Okay, so a quick review here of section 1. We are in F major. It does have intermittent pedal, okay? We are also, I've been practicing it around quarter note equals 66, which is quite slow, but just to get myself familiar with the music, okay? So I'm going to just play through section 1, see how it goes, and then I'll stop, and then we'll go to section 2 and play through that, okay? All right, so I found my spot, and I'm going to get started. 1, 2, ready, play. So that was my section 1. All right, now, like I said, I didn't get as much practice in on my section 2, but I'm going to definitely try just to see where we are. We got to have a baseline, okay? Bear with me here, all right? Here we go. Section 2 beginning at measure 14 after the fermata sign, okay? Let's see what happens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. I surprised myself. I noticed that the tempo that I chose for section 2 was a little bit tricky for me to keep. So I'm going to probably have to bump down the tempo a little bit just so I can keep the rhythm exactly how it needs to be. Now, my tricky spots were surprising to me, okay? Section 2, I was having trouble with some of the easier spots in this section. So if you're looking at your music, I would say definitely measures 17 and 18, which is funny because I wasn't even drilling that section in my practice. Those two measures were giving me a lot of trouble. And I think it was linked to the rhythm itself. I was holding my ties a little too long, and that in turn put me at the incorrect offbeat to the measure. So I kind of panicked in there. And I tried to play catch up, but I ended up having a couple wrong notes. So yeah, I'm actually going to work on drilling measures 14 to the end of measure 18. Okay, let me show you where that is in your music. Okay, so measure 14 is right here after the fermata, and I'm going to go all the way until I get over here, right there. Okay, so 14 all the way to the end of 18. That's going to be the part that I'm going to drill right now. Okay, if you want to follow along or if you want to play along with me, it might be good practice for you as well. Okay, so let's see if we can get that section under our fingers. Okay, so I'm beginning here at measure 14, and I'm going to stop at the end of 18, or perhaps the first beat of 19 at that A major chord. Okay, let's switch to piano view. Okay, guys, now I think it's those octaves that are throwing me off. If they're okay for you, the finger that I'm using for those octaves is I'm going 5, 1, and I cross my 3 over, right? Do you see that? Yes. All right. If you're using a different finger, that's fine, but I highly suggest doing something similar, okay? Now, let's begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. See, I already messed up. Let's try it again. It's an F, it's not an A. All right, let's try it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. First time through, okay? Let's see if we can do it 4 more times at that very slow tempo, okay? Now, if I make a mistake, I'm going to stop and I'm going to start over, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. second time through, guys, okay? Now, after 2 times, let's do it 3 more times. We've got to get to 5, all right? I am beginning at measure 14, and I'm counting off very slowly, all right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, so I'm going to stop because I ended up adding an extra half beat, okay? Let me switch here. So that's what I'm talking about. Like, if we're not actually very careful about the counting, we can be off in our the whole melodic progression rhythmically, and we don't want to do that, okay? So even if I hear the slightest little tinge of me holding out a tie too long, I have to stop, because if I don't, then it'll just be stuck in here incorrectly, and I don't want to do that. So if you find yourself holding your ties a little too long, make sure that you stop and you fix it right then and there. Okay, let's try it again. All right, so that one didn't count. Let's try this again. Okay, it might also be an indication that I'm going too fast. Okay, all right, starting at 14. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, I'm doing it again. Let's try this again. So this is the part where music teachers are like, well, what is going on in our brain if we keep making the same mistake? All right, this may happen to you too. This is actually a really good teachable moment for you in the moment when you find yourself repeatedly making the same mistake over and over. So yeah, I'm kind of like baffled as why I'm making that mistake, but it's a good opportunity for us. Okay, so because I keep messing up, even in the middle of me drilling my 5 times, and if I played it twice perfectly fine, I need to take it hands apart because something's happening in the right hand, okay? Something might be happening in your right hand too. All right, so I'm going to take it hands apart, just the right hand, and I'm going to count out loud and see if that helps me, okay? All right, let's try this again. Come on, Izzy, you can do this. All right, so I'm going to count. And let's just see what happens here, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Yes. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Yes. All right, so I noticed, yes, I was definitely holding an 8th note a little bit too long. So I did way better when I took it hands apart. Let's try that again. I'm going to get through it 3 more times, okay? Just the right hand by itself, okay? Starting at measure 14. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Yes. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Way better. Okay, let's try this again. This is number 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Yes. 2, 3, 1, 2. Yes. Yeah. Okay. 2 more times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Yes. 2, 3, 1, 2. Yes. All right, one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. much better. You notice the improvement, right, in my counting. Yeah, and I definitely was. I was holding a quarter note a little bit too long within that musical phrase, and it threw everything else off. I could tell when I was doing hands together that this was happening, which is why I had to stop, extract that, do just that one hand work, and then now I can try and put it back in there, okay? You're going to probably encounter this too as you're practicing. So now that I have resolved that problem, we have to see if that drilling has helped us in any way by putting that section hands together again, okay? Let's try it. All right, wish me luck. Let's see how this goes. I think it might be okay. All right, I'm going to slow it down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Let's try it again because I missed my left hand cue. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So there was a little bit of work in there too that probably needs to be looked at measure 20. This part. I'm not going to spend any more time working on that section, only because I can do that on my own for practice. But I did want to talk a little bit about, transitions, okay? So transitions within section 1 and section 2 are going to be critical, okay? We have a couple spots that probably need the most work as far as transitions between those two sections. The first spot is going to be measure 13 to measure 16, okay? And about that spot, okay? Luckily, we have a fermata over a rest at measure 14 at the beginning. You know, when I do the count off for the second section, I always say 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Yeah, because it comes in on the second beat there. So that transition in itself is probably going to be fairly simple for you because it's giving you the time to be able to find your next spot, okay? So I'm going to see if I can start at measure 8 just to lead into it, and then we're going to work a little bit on that transition between measures 13 and 16, okay? So I'm going to start at measure 8. Measure 8. All right. All right, this is our flat section. This is the fun one. All right, let's try this out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wrong notes in there, but I'll have to work on those at that tempo, right? It's funny because you can really notice that the tempo that I begin with, I'm much more comfortable in with that quick tempo versus the tempo in section 2 with it being quick. I'm not quite there yet, right? But that's okay, right? Because I'm still working at it. So that's what I mean by transitions. Not only is it a transition of notes and hand positions, it's also a transition of tempo, right? We have the tempo at the beginning is quite quick. But as we progress into section 2 and make that transition, it slows down just a hair, okay? Because the jumping that's going on in the left hand with those octave and 10 key jumps is quite daunting when you attack it at a very, very fast tempo. So make sure you're aware of that as well, okay? All right, well, that was that first transition spot. Let me see if I can go through that section once more, okay? Just the transition spot between section 1 and section 2. I'm going to begin at measure let's say measure 12, and then I'll go to measure 15 or 16, okay? Let's give that a try. All right, so measure 12. Here we are. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's pretty cool. Okay. Yeah, so I basically kept going a little bit because I figured out, well, I might as well see if I can maintain this tempo. And I actually attempted it, and I did fairly well, okay? So yeah, that transition spot, if you want to work on drilling that transition spot this week, I highly recommend that, okay? Now, this second transition spot, okay, is located at the end of measure 29, okay? See if you can find measure 29 in your music, okay? You notice at the end of that measure, we have a da capo al coda, okay? Now, if you can recall to your music instruction, da capo means from the top or the cap of your song. So that means go back to the beginning, right? Da capo al coda is a sign, right? It's like a little, it kind of looks like a compass, right? And it basically says you play from the beginning again, all the way until you see your coda, or the little sign. And then it says, go to the coda, right? Coda is sort of like an extra ending. So what you'll do is when you see the little sign, you're going to hop on over whoosh, all the way to the second page where it says coda, and then there's a little compass sign again, okay? Let me show you what it looks like, okay? All right, maybe I can do it this way. No, I'll do it this way. That's hard. Okay, so here it says da capo al coda. You see it? DC al coda, right? Now, that says go to the beginning, right? Da capo. So you go back to the beginning. Right, all the way, until you see, right there, it says to coda, right there. You see it? Yes, so there's a little sign. The coda is on page 2. And there it is, right there. Okay? I hope that roadmap makes sense, all right? Let's see if we can try the transition where it says da capo al coda and then go back to the beginning. Okay? So that's going to be the second transition spot we're going to work on. All right, let's give it a try. I'm going to begin at measure 28. Okay, measure 28. Let's see here. All right, so I'm up here. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's the melody. All right, so let's work on that transition spot. We're going to do measures 28 to measure 2. All right, I had a little bit of a hiccup in there, but that is A-okay. We're still working on this together. All right, let's see what happens. Measure 28. 1, 2, 3, 4. I played that 2 times. Let's do it 3 more times. Okay, starting here with our F major chord at measure 28. 28. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, yeah, okay. So see, I messed up. That one doesn't count. Let's do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do 2 more times, okay? All right, starting here at measure 28. 1, 2, 3, 4. There it is. All right, one last time, okay, y'all? Let's do it. F major chord starting at measure 28. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ah, there we go. So that was that last time through. Very, very good. All right. If you stuck with me through this whole lesson, congratulations. You're doing fabulous. These are not easy pieces, I'll tell you that. That's why I said at the beginning, these Learn With Me songs that we're going to be doing for this series are at the late intermediate to early advanced level, okay? That's because of the syncopation in the rhythm, the articulation, the keys, the tempo, things that make it really tricky and difficult, okay? But luckily, I think I have some really fun songs picked out for this series, okay? This Animal Crossing one was a suggestion from a student. I also have 2 other ones that were suggestions from students. So they're going to be really, really fun and very challenging for you, okay? Now, I guess to close this lesson, I should probably try and play sections 1 and 2 together and then try to do the coda, right? Or to do the da capo, right? The da capo means to go back to the beginning. And I will stop where it says to coda, because that ideally will set us up for next week's lesson when we work specifically on the coda only, okay? So let's see if we can do it. I'm going to pick a rather slow tempo so that I don't, fall apart. But if I do, that's okay. I'm not going to give up. I'll just keep going. All right, so here we go. Let's see if all our hard work has paid off a little bit, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I definitely, I can tell exactly where I'm going to need to put my practice in, right? I did okay on the transitions, which was the focus of this lesson. But the lack of practice on section 2 was very obvious, right? And yeah, I mean, I'm a real person. I am a piano teacher, but even piano teachers have to practice. So, but anyway, thanks so much for joining me today. For this Learn With Me on our Animal Crossing theme song. I'm very happy to bring these to you every week. I do wanted to just remind everybody that I accept tips, right? I'm operating a donation-based virtual piano studio at the moment, so if you find that these lessons have been helpful for you, consider tipping me to keep me afloat since I have lost my income. I accept PayPal. My email is encoremusichtx. I also accept Venmo. My username is IzzyChia. And I also accept Cash App. My user is IZZI3CH3A. Thank you for letting me say that. And of course, last but not least, we always close every single piano lesson with a music quote. It helps keep us focused and inspired, okay? So our music quote for today comes from the author Leo Tolstoy, and this is what he says. Music is the shorthand of emotion. That's a good one. It really is, because you know what, where words or where those things fail, like you can get instant emotion from a song or from music. It just brings things out that might be, very, very deep-seated within your soul. So that's, again, a really amazing part of being in the music community and having it such a big part of my life, is that I feel like I have a better understanding of my emotions, being able to be a musician. So I hope that you're able to experience that too very soon. All right. Thank you so much for joining me again. It's been a lot of fun this afternoon. I'll see you next Tuesday for Learn With Me, okay? Take care.